And we're
Shit's like
live.
baseball cards.
We're live. 10 o'clock, Kevin. 10 o'clock.
Yeah, it's 10.
I
I
think
like
this,
it late.
usually I've gone honestly around 6 or 7. I used to do when I used to host the Late Late Show with Patdees and bring guests on. I would actually do that at 11 o'clock at night a lot of times. So before
Yeah.
we get started, let's do the opener real quick. Yeah,
Beautiful.
I had to cut it from 48 seconds to 12 seconds because of the price of
That's a
gas.
long.
Jet, yeah,
Yeah.
jet fuel's expensive. So
Yeah. Where were you going? Where'd you take off from there in that video?
that video actually I recorded. That was I was either landing or taking off in South Carolina.
Oh, nice. I love
Yeah,
South Carolina.
yeah.
Charleston.
I was on 8 airplanes last year, flying in and out from South Carolina to Florida and back and forth and stuff like that. So
Yeah.
yeah.
I'm in Florida, and I love
Oh,
I
I
love
was gonna
Carolina.
ask. Yeah, I was gonna ask. I wasn't
Yeah.
sure where you lived or not, but
Yeah, I'm outside of Lakeland, Bartow. It's like a really small town.
mhm.
And I'm in between, I'm 40 minutes southwest of Orlando, and then I'm 40 minutes literally east of Tampa.
Yeah.
But I spend most of my time sourcing and like the Tampa, St. Pete area, in Sarasota, all up and along that coast over there.
So
So many people.
how far are you from Tampa?
About 40, 45 minutes
Oh,
with
okay.
no traffic. But I-4, man, it's always accidents and traffic. So I take the back roads. That usually is about an hour.
Right. Yeah, and that's
Yeah.
where Rally Roots is in that area.
Yeah, they're in Riverview.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah, it's a
That
nice area.
do you remember a couple years that young kid he won the lotto down there. It was like 19, 20 years old, won like $300 million or it was like a huge number, and he was from that area. I don't know if you ever remember that story.
No, but just think being 19 years old and winning all that money and be like,
Oh
dude,
yeah.
I have my life set. I have my life set.
Yeah, he has relatives up here, I guess, in like the Massachusetts area. I'm from Pennsylvania, but yeah, guys. Hey, I do appreciate the people. Once the notification comes out, we typically get. It's hard to tell how many people we'll get at this time of night because usually,
Yeah, it's late.
yeah, it's late, but yet people are always looking for lives or something to do. I think Locker Nuts is always on doing their auction stuff, but I wanted to do this at this time because this is when Kevin said he was available, and actually tomorrow night I'm hosting at 9 o'clock. I do a monthly interview chat, and Katie and Vicky are going to be on. Harry Tornado was on last month, and Rally Roots was on the month before that, and then Rachel. So I only do one of those a month with a special guest, and I try to actually do it someone that is known in the community as far as reselling and YouTube, and somebody that I really haven't been a guest before that kind of can add value or bring people. Hey Ed G, what's up? It's weird because I'm seeing it on YouTube for sometimes it's hard. Sometimes it'll pop up on StreamYard first, and then sometimes YouTube. So I never understand what the lag is, but there is a survey there. If you do sell on eBay, are your sales up, down, or flat from last year? I'd appreciate you guys answering that. So, hey Karen, thanks for coming by. Basically, this show, what I do is. I was explaining a little bit before Kevin was the beginning of the year. I don't do a whole lot of lives like I used to. Back in the beginning when I first started doing YouTube, I was probably averaging 10, 12 lives a month. And I did that. I mean, I established 1,000 subscribers rather quickly. But when you're kind of blending in with pre-recorded stuff and you want to make YouTube successful, it kind of screws things up and they kind of don't know where are you live, are you pre-recorded? And I backed off from doing pre-recorded and lives and just mostly focused on pre-recorded. And so I wanted to do a show talking about reselling because that's what the channel's about. So I'm like, well, why don't I ask people if they're for $10 a year? And we got 7 or 8 people that are on the website, and we basically feature their store throughout the hour, and and answer questions, talk about eBay, bring a guest on. Stuart here, he's one of the people that um, are the sponsors. And actually, we give out T-shirts, we buy stuff in people's store, and he's been a guest probably 3 times out of the first 6 shows I did. So he's been very supportive of the concept and kind of understand it. But it's a lot of work. People don't realize that even doing that, and so the people that got in early got lucky, because I will no longer do that no more as far as $1 a month. I mean, and giving away as much as I was, that I changed it to now. If anybody wants to do it, it's going to be $10 for 2 months. And at the end of the day, if no one else does it, I don't care. Because again, it's a lot of work to do this and put this out, and kind of, it's a way of networking and featuring the stores. But we're going to talk to Kevin a little bit, and then we'll kind of go into the stores and see what what they're selling, what they have featured, and Kevin could add. I'll ask questions like, hey, do you sell albums? For example. But Kevin, why don't you introduce yourself and tell them who you are, and that you're definitely an eBay seller, and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, I'm Kevin. I'm from the Thrifting Lounge. I have a Facebook group with about, I don't know, 45,000 members in it now. I started about 2010, along with my YouTube channel, and I used to do a lot of YouTube back in the day. So I used to hang out with everybody from Steve Rakin and Bonafide Hustler to the Gilmans, if you guys remember them, to Chad Golden Finger Picker. Dusty, I knew really well. And then I went away in 2015 and got a regular job just because, the stress of doing a weekly show every week, especially when no one else was doing a weekly show. There was only 3 of us, but everyone was doing group shows. It was really stressful. So I stepped away from that, stepped away from eBay, started doing insurance. And then I met my girlfriend, and one day I'm just like, let's go hang out in Goodwill, man. See what they got. It's been a long time, and I started getting that itch. I feel like if you're a real reseller, you get away from it, you get that itch. Cause you have so much knowledge in your head. That's like, man, let me see what's out there. So then one day me and her was in the store, and I saw her kind of getting into it and looking over items and researching items. And she was really quick learner. And, pandemic hit. I said, hey, our business is doing so well. I want you to go full time for this pandemic. Year and a half later, my hobby, eBay, was taking over my regular job on insurance. And I was like, so during the last few months, because I was working from home, during the last few months, I was doing less regular work during the work hours because they weren't really monitoring me. And I was just ramping up my business to go full time. And then finally my girlfriend begged me. She's like, this is getting too much for me to do by myself. I need you to quit. Like, we can do this. And I said to her, the first year is going to be a struggle. And the first year was the end of March last year. And we ended up doing about $115,000. Of course, that's before taxes, fees, what you bought for the inventory, that's just gross. And then for 2 people, that's our 2 full-time incomes. It was a little tight. But I tell you, since November, we're doing $12,000, $13,000 a month. Our weekly stats are looking like $3,000 a week. And I said to her, our first year is going to be a struggle, but our second year is going to get good. And I did not know it was going to be this good, this quickly. I've been doing eBay since 2002. Buying a little back then and selling until like 2005, and I got into it heavy. My main niches is clothing, vacuum. We literally just started doing vacuum parts about a year ago, and that's quickly become our number 2 niche. And then also golf clubs. But I do a little bit of everything. I don't believe in niching down. There is some people that niche down, but I feel like, hey, if you go into a store and your niche isn't in that store, and you only have enough time for that store, you're really screwing yourself, tying your hands behind your back. So I'm old school when it comes to reselling, whereas I learned everything from everybody. I learned I learned from Golden Finger Picker, I learned from Steve Rake, and I learned from the Gilmans. I learned from people that I hung out with, and gaining that knowledge is absolutely priceless. But I am adding. I promised myself every year I'm going to pick a new niche and try it out. And if it works, I'm going to add it to my arsenal. If it doesn't, if I come into contact in it and it's really nice, I'll grab it as long as it's not outside of my zone. Like I'm not, it's like, hey, I'm going out of my way and spend too much time on looking through this stuff. So this year it's going to be ephemera. So like antique real picture postcards, paper, ads, stuff like that, which I already have a fair deal of knowledge in, but I just want to learn more of it because I
Kevin,
feel like,
I'm sorry, we got two questions
yeah,
before we scroll up real quick. Schreiker, and thank you for being here. Schreiker is pretty much the mod of many channels, but he's always good about dropping links. So thank you, Schreiker. He says, is Rainbow Vac still good?
top notch. That and Electrolux, man. I love fine Electrolux because it's always people that just want to give those away. Rainbow vacuums, even if I see them, they're always not overpriced. They're priced retail. Same thing with Kirby's. Kirby's are great. I sold an $850 vacuum last year. It was a new inbox Kirby that I got from a storage unit, and I paid $40 for that. And I just sold the shampoo system for $200. So technically, for a $40 investment, I made $1,050 on it.
Wow, that's good. Yeah,
it was awesome, dude.
I don't know if you know any of these people, and I do appreciate you coming. That's one of the reasons why I like to still do these lives once in a while is to network. I've actually been on, I think, with Kevin and Craig only
three
one.
Times. No, 3 times.
Okay, well, we hung out after your show one time.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we weren't live during that one, but over the last 3 years, it hasn't been a whole lot. And this is the first time Kevin's actually been on my channel. And Susan Strickler, she works for the post office, and she lives in California. And her question is, how is the new shipping perimeters affecting your shipping on golf clubs?
Not at all, because when you do so much of one niche, then you quickly learn on the spot, on the fly. So USPS, if you guys don't know, USPS added anything over 20 inches, including first class, it's an additional $4. I believe anything over 28 or 30 inches is $15. So I've actually sold 2 putters this weekend, and I actually paid $8 and $9, and it went right through UPS. So FedEx and USPS is raising rates. UPS is, whereas I've noticed it's like a change. So like a year and a half ago, I barely ever used UPS because most of the good shipping rates were coming from USPS and FedEx. Right. Well, when you keep raising your rates, now UPS is that sweet spot. So I'm seeing a lot more package within the first. I think the first or the fourth they added this new thing was the fourth, the perimeters. But no, I feel like I'm getting more sales now on golf clubs because everyone else added those rates in. And I feel like that's more amateurish of them because they don't do their research and see like, hey, there's other options out there besides the post office.
Yeah, I wonder if people get stuck in like, well, no, this is the way I did it. I'm not willing to switch it up and try another shipment.
That's a great point. 100%. And it goes into international shipping. Like people like, oh, I just do global. I said, do you 30 or I'd say 20 to 25% prior to the pandemic, 35, 40% of my business was overseas. When you understand, you lock in those rates on overseas, it's like your bread and butter, nonstop sales overseas. So like I'll even sell golf clubs. I've sold $300 tennis rackets overseas. And it's no problem for me. I'll just add insurance on it. And I ship it through pirate ship. A lot of people are like, oh, well, I'll ship it through, eBay. Well, if you learn the shipping rates, I was on a live with Flipping Goodies, Mike, and he's like, no, Kevin, you need to see the rates from pirate ship. They have a simple simple export rate. And no joke, it's like 50% cheaper on most of the pounds going through pirate ship instead of going through eBay. And they do the same thing as if it's like the global shipping. They have their own places you ship it to, like in Miami and a few other places in the United States. Then they repackage it and then they send it over, and you don't have to worry about the rest. I know somebody that I'm really good friends with. He was so stubborn for the longest time on doing eBay. And then finally, he actually wrote to me last week and said, man, I got to apologize to you about the pirate ship, man, because we got in a heated conversation. And he goes, I messed up. He said, you're so right 100% on pirate ship versus eBay shipping. And he said, sometimes I'm just so stubborn. I'm set in my ways. And I'm like, well, as a reseller, you got to know how to learn to adapt to certain situations and always think of the future, because you don't want to be like, Kmart. If you get
Right.
stuck in the same situation, you get stuck in the mud, if you're not doing it like Walmart or Amazon, thinking of the future. And that's how you really gain an edge. You always want to try to gain an edge on reselling, because that's what's going to make you money. And nothing ever stays the same. So you're always trying to research, like, what else is out there I can do a little bit better. Maybe go through my listings, change things up, lower prices, put on more sales, just different things like that. I mean, really, this is your business, so handle it like your business.
Yeah, I agree. It reminds me of years ago. I remember when I shopped at Kmart and Walmart, and one of the things that I heard that Kmart wasn't, I remember going into Kmart, and it used to be annoying that you would go in there and there would be a flyer when something was on sale. And the first day, like, traditionally they did their sales like Sunday through Saturday, and you'd go over on the shelf and they don't have it. And then you learn that what was happening is Walmart had a system. As soon as something was scanned, it was automatically reordered, where Kmart didn't have that technology incorporated in their POS systems, that they relied on humans. And with all the SKUs, there was definitely going to be things missed, or not understanding what sales was going to be down the road, and then the timing of getting that stuff, where Walmart automatically, invested into doing that the proper way. But I'm going to get into two stores in between, and this gives you a chance to get, if you want to say hi to anybody in the chat. And I see Craig's here, and Susan, thank you for asking questions, and John.
Yeah, what's up, Landshark?
I appreciate it. But Record Crate Adam is the first store that we're going to feature. Now he's based in the Carolinas. He sells primarily records and CDs and stuff. Plus he has a storefront. But I see that he's added some new things as far as toys, diecast, Star Trek, and that's one of the things too. If you guys get a chance, hey, Kristen, thank you for stopping. I do appreciate it. Support small business, and before you're going out to Walmart or everyone who's here, most of our resellers, and if we can buy something to support each other in our eBay stores, it's much better than supporting a big corporation and stuff like that. But he's got 191 listings. You sell records at all, Kevin?
So a few years ago, I got right before Prince died and Michael Jackson died, because they died a few years apart, or right around the same time, I believe.
Well, I know
Michael Jackson 10 years ago.
Michael Jackson was
2008, 2009, and then I think Prince was 2014, 2015. No, it had been 2013, 2014, because I quit in 2015. Okay. And this guy, he's like, hey, listen, you want to help me do a clean out? And I'm like, sure, man. He's like, you can keep whatever you get. I don't keep any of it. I know you do eBay, whatever. Dude, I had all like 2 full boxes of records and like 7 different Michael Jackson albums and like 4 different Princes. And I think it was actually before he died. And then I listed them right as soon as he died. And I got primo money from them. But I do, whenever I do go into a store, I do look at them. But most of them are like not in the area of me really making any profit. I did sell a few Christmas records that gave me $30, $40 back in Christmas time. So I do know what to look for when it comes to that.
Hey, Phil, thanks for stopping, buddy. I appreciate it. Hey, Boltman, thanks for stopping also. I do appreciate it. Schreiker says Prince died April 21st, 2016, actually. And Michael Jackson.
Wow, actually, so then I must have quit end of 2016.
I knew Michael Jackson because I could tell you exactly where I was. I was driving by Best Buy in Dixon City, and it came on the radio around 2:30, and Farrah Fawcett died the same
I
day.
was gonna say, do you know who died the same day? Farrah Fawcett. Yep, and
And
that was overshadowed.
and Michael Jackson died on my favorite singer's birthday, which is George Michael.
Oh, I love George Michael.
Yeah, so and
That dude was a fun dude.
he died Christmas 2016.
Yeah, cancer, right?
No, I think it was a heart attack. Like he didn't have no drugs in his system, but yeah, heart attack. I think too much over the years of doing
Do
those.
you, do you know who I had my girlfriend look up the other day? And because I was like, man, I don't think he's dead, or is he dead? Boy George, because I was like, man,
No, he's still around.
I love some of Boy George's
Yeah,
CDs, but I was like, man, can you look that up for me? And she looked it up, and she's like, no, he's still alive. I'm like, man, that's someone you
yeah,
don't hear much from.
he's still around because he got in a little trouble and had to do like garbage for community service. But
Yeah,
he's still around. But the
that was a
second
cool dude, though.
he was early into being a little different.
Glam rock.
April Treasures Find. She's our second store that's going to be featured here. She's added some new stuff. Now, as you noticed in these stores, now we're
Let's
not here.
scroll up a little bit.
Yeah, we're not here to criticize
Go down.
anything. What we're here to do is talk about like one of the things I like looking into other people's stores is that moment that oh, I didn't even know you could sell that. Oh, that makes money. That
Well, if you go down one row to the or two rows to the phone, if you can get the right one that's Bakelite, those things go for primo money. The Bakelite phones, vintage phones, or the candlestick phones, those go for good money too.
always keep in mind too the stores that we feature. We don't know if they're full time, whether they're part time. Um, um, where they're at and stuff like that. Do they source from the Goodwill? Do they source from the Salvation Army? Here's Source Camp. She is a newer reseller, and you could tell even by her followers and that's one thing.
I've got like 7 of those Beauty and the Beast VHSs in my store because
Yeah.
we use filler items.
Yeah.
So like we list 20 a day. So before we got into vacuum parts, we were grabbing VHSs because they're only like 50 cents at our local thrift. But then we just got into vacuum parts, man. And I'm telling you, vacuum parts is insanely a good niche to get into.
Now here,
I think
did you notice on these pictures they look so small? So
yeah, it's because they're not in square mode, and because she doesn't have it in square mode. If she had it in square mode,
yeah,
these pictures will come out better.
Yeah, they look a little bit too small. So
I also suggest if she is available to have outside natural light, is to photo like her shoe pictures look great.
Yeah,
those look nice, but you got to get it in square mode.
Yeah,
because especially when you want to show up on Google, on eBay, it helps a lot by doing square mode.
And again, you could see she's experimenting because here she took away the background, probably with
just for some help. She's missing a lot of good keywords on this Michael Kors. So on those class, you can put bone buttons. She
now
could
and it's funny because you're the only one I've ever heard say that about keywords. Where should those keywords be? In the description?
So how I would word this is how I would title this.
Okay.
It would be Michael, X out real quick. Michael Kors, black, woman's raincoat, and I would do a space between the rain and the coat. And then I would also put bone buttons towards the end, not that last one, but the at size L as the last keywords. That's perfect. And then I would put, that's kind of like a duffel coat. So like if you can add duffel in front of rain.
You know, one thing I noticed too, and again, this is not to criticize. This is to ask somebody to. In other words, we're talking shop here tonight. If you know, do you notice her description? What I'm noticing?
Give me a second. What are you noticing?
The title is nowhere in the description.
I mean, I always like if you pop up one of mine, like if you search for me, and I'll show you how I do it.
Put it. You want to
I
put it in private?
definitely do put it in the description because Google takes it from the description, your first, I think, 200
Okay,
words,
yeah, that's what I'm
right?
saying. So
So
what?
you want to definitely put it. So like if you have the condition box, this is perfect for the condition. Gently used, no rips or tears. That's fine. But then when you get in the description, you kind of want to say, hey, what the item is. Michael Kors, raincoat,
Yeah, none of that.
bone
None of
buttons.
that. I copy and paste my title, and then I add to it like if I,
Yep.
if I feel there's something worthy. So and that's another thing. If anyone's watching this on the replay or any of these featured sellers are watching this, I would encourage them to stop by or comment on this video. There, I mean, I understand like Mr. Buys a lot. He's busy. He has 180,000 listings. He's been a guest on the show, but Stewart is pretty much been the only one out of all those people that have been here regular and supporting. Uh, um, you know, I'm not seeing these people. Like people are asking me, "Hey Pat, how comes some of these resellers are not coming by the show?" Or I said, "I don't know." So I wish they would kind of show up or comment because then we could address them right away. Or if they have a question, like if the question to you was Kevin, how would you improve this listing? You're doing $12,000 a month. I don't do 12,000 a month. I'm listing more. I went from basically 600 and some listings to 1,100 in the past month. Now I know a lot of people say, "Oh, listings don't count. It's quality over quantity." I hear that.
Wait. Listens. What do you mean listens don't count?
Well, I'm hearing
Of
that people.
course, man. If they're telling you listens don't count, the saying always goes: the more you list, the more you sell. That
What,
if they're
and
telling you
and
that, that's a false. That's a false
and
pretense.
and
There's
I and
some
I and
reason why
I'm
you list the more you
I'm
sell.
selling more, and I got the stuff is already bought and paid for. And at the end of the day, if you can list, I use the analogy of a store. You got this, when they do store sales, they base it on square footage. They'll say
Yep.
my store does $250. Now, some people say like, and it makes me think about how when I had a restaurant when you were checking out, I ripped out the counter and I put a clear counter in, and we would sell candy bars and gum and mints and stuff like that. Now those were impulse items, but at the end of the day, I made about $3,000
Bread and butter.
selling
Bread
those
and butter.
things.
Yep.
And so even with me listing, and I was talking about this before the show, I'm selling baseball cards now on Facebook. Now I sell them at $5 to $9 a pack, and I'm selling right now in the past 2 weeks about $200. I mean, do the math. That's if I stay steady at $150 a week, that's going to be $5,000 to $7,000 worth of something that costs me very little.
Yeah.
Um,
For a small seller like her, I would suggest when you get your inventory, right, divide it up by 7 days. And that's how many you should list a day and be consistent with it. Whether you can only afford 5 items a day, don't blow out all your inventory and list them within a few days. You got to spread it out because what happens is when you don't list for a day, your sales drop off. Now, a lot of people say, well, that's not maybe if you sometimes I'll tell you, if I don't list my 20 or if I list then less than 20 a day, my sales drop off drastically. So imagine if a small seller like you, if you consistently list, I would say start 5 a day, move up to 10. When you make enough money, move up to
well,
15. That's what I did.
the thing I'm doing is I see a lot of people will set up a calendar and talk about listing, let's say 20 a day, for example. And
Yep.
I said to myself, I don't want to beat myself up if I skip a day because I have a family or personal things. So what I've been trying to do is I'm going to list 100 a week. And if I skip a day, guess what? One day I do 35, and maybe next. Either way, I'm still trying to do 100 a week, and be a constant, because I did probably honestly 2 weeks in a row every day, and then there was a day I didn't list, and I was beating myself up.
Yeah.
Now, going back to that talking about the number of listings. Now, I do agree. I would love to have $50 items on everything that I list and make $25. But I have the opportunity to list 300 more items and 10,000, and I'm looking at stuff over there that sells for, let's say, $10 where I could still make $5 on. Do I take the attitude of not listing it, or do I list it and try to use the cash flow, try to get some traffic on my eBay store until I find the better things that are higher margins or better average sales? Like my average sale right now for the past 2 months is $23. So I took the number, what I did, and I divided it, and that's where I come up with that $23.
I'm at $43 the last year or so. And that's including a lot of vacuum parts that sell for $5 to $6, but I have a lot of items that sell for over 80 to $100, a lot of them. So it
Right.
kind of evens it out. But if you're new, man, I would tell you, dude, if I had to start all over again, there'd be 2 niches I'd get into: blazers and suits, men's only, not women's, blazers and suits, and vacuum parts. Last month I made $5,000 in vacuum parts, $3,000 in blazers and suits, and the rest were other items, mainly golf clubs and other things. But that's what I'm saying. Like, if you want to do it, and if you want to spend less time, more time making money, remember, because each vacuum has about 10, 15, upwards of 30 to 40 parts each. So that's your listens right there. For me, we do 20 listens a day. So I do 10 clothing. My girlfriend does 10 vacuum parts every single day. You know, that's how we build our business up. We've been doing that for the last 5 months now. And every month our gross goes up at least 5 to 10%. We used to have this one right here. Schmidt. Is that made in, go back real quick? Is that made in Sri Lanka? Click that real quick. Yep, click it again. My mom still has all these as a kid. Beauty and the Beast one. Scroll down. Where is it made? Is it Sri Lanka? Let me see. Is it? Malaysia.
It says Malaysia, yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's Sri Lanka.
Yeah, that could be, if someone's selling similar, and sometimes that's the thing when you're selling similar and not changing those details. Here we can look.
Yeah, but scroll into that. Let me see where that's made. Can you see that? Schmidt. That one does. I think it says Malaysia. The earlier ones that are worth a lot of money from Schmidt are the ones from Sri Lanka, because they closed down that shop and moved it. I used to collect these as a kid. My mom used to buy them. She still has the whole collections. So this is something that if I saw in a store, I already knew it from the past. So this is what's great about knowing a lot of the stuff from your childhood. Okay. Yeah, Franklin, exactly. I do the same thing. The vacuum parts are a lot of lower price, and then there's vacuum parts that are a lot of the higher price, the engine, the motor, the big parts of it. So yeah, I'm the same way. I have a lot of high items mixed in with a lot of low items, and like you said, it evens it right out.
I just still want to be, and trust me, there's going to come a time. I think it all depends what your situation is, what your storage is, what you have access to, what you're, when I'm 70 and I still want to be a full-time reseller or a part-time, whatever, do I want to have as much, do I want to maybe have, 1,500 listings? No. Maybe then I just do postcards and baseball cards where I have a little area and that's it. I make, $10,000 a year with my Social Security and I'm happy. Now I pretty much got almost the size of a house of all the stuff that I have.
You should see my garage, dude. I have an 800 square foot garage and it is busting at the seams with our inventory mixed in with my stuff that I refinish furniture. So it's crazy, but dude, I love it. This is I am obsessed, and this is the best thing because you can go. As I was saying to you earlier, Pat, I have ADD, so I love going down rabbit holes, like going down like Postcard, the Firma, stuff like that. Now, man, I love going down those little rabbit holes. Anything that's going to get me an edge.
Now, one thing with Franklin Hill Stewart here,
Hmm.
he lives down in Tennessee. He has a
Yep.
couple. He has a couple booths, so
Yeah.
he's even selling stuff. I wish I had that out. I live in a seasonal area, so I could probably make money 6 months out of the year. But I was actually thinking of maybe eventually. The problem is the good places that there's booths, nobody leaves because and if somebody does leave, someone in there takes over the spot. Someone has an
Yeah.
in, because they know
Or
it's
they expand.
yeah, they expand, they double
Yep.
up. It's just so profitable for them. But yeah, this was Paul Antonelli's store. um he came on once, but again, I'm not getting people to kind of comment on the video. We're doing our part featuring their stores, and I'm hoping that people are checking them out and patronizing them, or at least if they're watching as viewers, they're seeing what other people are selling, and it's clicking something in their head to say, oh wow, maybe that's an opportunity to sell something that I haven't tried before, that there's money in.
I
Now let me
just see a
ask you.
lot of items on there that are like I feel like there is some items that do well for with and you got to do the research with auction versus buy it nows, because with auctions you're still grouped in with the same amount of views that even if you did as buy it now. So that's why I always say I like doing a buy it now versus auctions. But if there's some stuff that go better at auctions, polos, Under Armour, Heat Gear stuff, I'll drop them in auctions. But if I'm like you're looking at Paul's, I see a lot of no bids and really low priced items. To
Yeah,
me, that's telling me that the auctions just aren't working. And a lot, and they like that's the thing with eBay. They changed something up a while ago where it's really auctions aren't really that as important as buy it now anymore either, because they don't get the views. Because if I want to promote my item, I'm still going to be higher than the auctions. Because I noticed that when I did some auctions last year, I'm like, man, when I used to do auctions, I get like 3 times the views. Now I'm barely getting any of the views, and it's like a day left and 10 hours left. And I realized, that's right, it's promotions they really promote now. They don't care if you do auctions.
right. The
But
only
there
thing,
is some items that you do want to do auctions with.
yeah, I have like 1,160 items, and I think only 9 are auction. And honestly, they're the NASCARs that, because they were taken out of the box, if I sold and pretty much got my money back for them, I'm okay with that. Now, in the past, because I'm a fan of baseball cards, and I know, like for example, like a 1966 Mickey Mantle, that card may sell for $450 to $550. So I know, like, if I start that, for example, at 300, and if you get a crazy time, like when COVID was shut down, all of a sudden the auction prices, that card normally, let's say, would go for 455. All of a sudden that one would go for 700. Or a rare collectible or something that's that there's only maybe 2 listed that people are willing to. Before I list anything, I always look at the comps. So if I for example, if I was going to list some of those baseball cards that I know, like, well, why put in it buy it now and best offer when a lot of times you'll see like 12 of them sold at auction with 60 bids, and got great pricing.
Yep.
You know,
For me, with the Blazers, dude, it's like I can pick up any Blazer and sell it. I can pick up like I got that free haul, and 4 or 5 of them I've sold in the last week are non-brand names that go better, that sell better because they have a nice pattern, nice fabric, nice color. Man, if you can know what you're doing in each niche, you don't even have to look at comps. Baseball cards are different because it's always changing. But when it comes to Blazers, which I think is making a huge comeback, a humongous comeback because we're coming out of the COVID and everything. So I think if you can, that a specific niche and the market doesn't change much, man, you can get bang out listings quicker. You can get things done quicker. Man, and it sells all year.
now, do you know Brian, Mr. Buys a Lot?
No.
He is now in South Carolina, but he originally is from Allentown, He still has a warehouse up there, but he's got 180,000 listings. He does, and I haven't clicked that on, but let's click that as here. We'll click on his solds, and this is just movie posters. I think it's the last 90 days it shows, Kevin?
Yeah, go to all. Scroll back up.
Well, you know what happened was I was on
the movie posters.
Yeah, the movie, and that's where there
you go, 1,500 sales.
Yeah. I mean, I know him personally, and I've done business with him. He's spent a lot of money, even with. Oh wow, I'm a Mike Schmidt fan, so this piqued my interest in to see what he got. He does auctions during the week, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays at like 5:00.
Mm-hmm.
But he paid for like the last 2 years. I mean, he was paying someone like $500 a week to list stuff. So he's spent a lot of money building up his store. But he does have a lot of he does a lot of sales, but he's also spent a lot of money to have a why is that not going back? I don't know. Oh, there it goes. I just closed that one. But he sells a lot of ephemera, a lot of paper, a lot of different. Oh wow, I never even saw this one. Yeah, is that PG? Before it looks like 100. Well, it's made to look.
Yeah, it's Pennywise.
Ronald McDonald.
That was such a good. They're such a good band, man.
He bought like $70,000 worth of these posters.
Yeah,
a couple of years ago, and he only has the only ones. Boy, I like it. It's a knock on Ronald McDonald, but it is kind of funny. And
you never heard of the band Pennywise? The punk band,
I guess God, I didn't. I heard band. Pennywise, but I didn't know who they were.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Now, so me and Stuart have to be featured. So we're going to ask you some questions, and I have a question. You talk about these vacuum parts and stuff.
Why don't you pop up my store and you can just see exactly what I'm talking about, man? Like you'll quickly see like these and then whenever you come in contact with certain vacuums, you're like, or if I'm looking on you, dude, they're so easy to snipe on Facebook, man.
What's your store called?
Thrift Holic.
And how do I?
O is just so like THRIFT.
Wait a minute. eBay, thrift.
Yep.
O.
Just O, right? And then holic, like an alcoholic, just HOLIC.
HOLIC.
Yep. Thrift Holic. Yep.
There we go. There we go. Is that you right there?
I can't see.
I'm teasing. That's you.
No, I'm right here. You can see me, right?
Yeah, well, that's what I'm saying. I'm trying to. This is what your Hollywood look here.
Oh, is that me and Ashley?
Yeah,
John Johnson did that for me for our garage sales YouTube channel that we're going to be doing.
Oh, okay.
So I liked it so much that I used that as the cover because they want you to start doing more personal things with your store on eBay. So
yeah, I mean, it's a nice. I like the color, and it's a nice looking. All right, so you got almost 4,000 items listed.
Yeah, share the screen.
Yeah, so let's. Oh yeah, duh.
Yeah, share the screen.
Well, you know what it is I have two screens going, so I'm looking to the right, and I forgot the Schreiker has to remind me of that.
You see that first blazer pick? I switched from the regular traditional one pick. See that one pick for the cover to the I edited it so I have 3 picks on like that. See the 3 picks, dude. And my engagement on these things have been through the roof. I switched about 2 months ago to the 3 pick, and right away I noticed engagement and people buying that because that pitch looks so much better than like the second photo would.
Is this like is that cashmere?
No, it's wool and acrylic blend. I got that for free from that haul I was just telling you about.
So you see that, and it's funny because I have a cashmere wool, and I don't know really much. Some guy I see regularly at the Goodwill and the Salvation Army said, "Oh yeah, this is a good jacket." Here, I'm gonna go grab it real quick. Talk to the people.
So So if you see what I do here, and it's a really good strategy to do. I use a regular 15% coupon code right there, Thrift 2021, for buyers who come back to my store. And then I always run a 1-day sale. And before it's about to end, I re-up and do it for the following day. I always run a 40% off sale. Of course, I hike my prices up to reflect it. And man, I tell you, it works so well. I've been doing it for over a year and a half now. And since they've added the coupon, I've gotten more sales from that too. And B-back customers. Of course, a B-back customer is customers who come back to your store and buy.
Yeah, like
again, you want to run your business like you're running, you're working on a regular job. So you gotta. It's why I always tell people what we do is we're an entrepreneur. We market ourselves with the titles and the photos. We're always doing our research. It's a full-time gig.
This was the jacket that I don't really call it a suit. I guess a blazer.
It's a blazer. Yeah, it's a blazer. It's like a $35 blazer. That's nice. Cashmere. Yep. Jose Bank.
The problem is I don't know the size.
All you got to do, I can tell you the size right now. Get your measuring tape, put it on the ground, close the buttons up. And if it's a 48-inch waist chest and 46-inch waist, it's going to be a 46. And then to figure out if it's a regular size, small or a large, a regular runs 31 to 32 inches. A small's anything under 31 inches. A long is anything over 32 inches. Super simple. The sleeves, if it's a short, it's going to be 24 inches. If it's a regular, it'll be 25 inches. And if it's a long, it's going to be 26 inches or longer.
Okay. I got it.
I love selling blazers, man. I love selling blazers.
Dave is question for you.
No, I won't touch pay per click. I've actually gone away from my new listings in the last 3 months I don't promote them anymore, because what happens, if you notice, everybody who's promoting keeps raising their rates, right? So when you're promoting, you're going to get stuck around in the middle and the bottom, even if you go to the top, right? So one day I noticed that when I wasn't promoting my listings and I was listing them, right, I was getting more engagements because there's a lot less people not promoting. So they're still going to show you at the top. The first row maybe will be promoted, right? I'll say promoted, but the second row is going to be full of people that aren't promoted, and that's going to be me. So I feel like I'm getting more engagement by not promoting my items. I'm getting more sales from not promoting my items. Plus, my bottom line's going up because I'm not promoting my items. So yeah, you see, look at all the stuff I've sold, the vacuum parts. I mean, it's insane. All those $6 adds up for a $10 vacuum, where one part.
Yeah, and I have it set up right now from lowest to the highest.
From lowest to highest, yeah.
Yeah.
So like you said, you do. There you go. Now go high. There you go. Look at this. $285, the KitchenAid. The Simplicity, that vacuum sold in a day for $240. Zegna's suit, I took a best offer of, I think, $200 on that. Another Simplicity. So now go back to the top row. So you see, now I know what I'll be looking for on a vacuum to sell whole.
Right.
Is a Freedom Simplicity vacuum, because they sell so well.
Now, where do you get something like that, though? I mean,
Facebook Marketplace, garage sales. That I got for free at a garage sale. And that's in one of the videos that I did for my YouTube that I haven't put out yet. The guy's like, just take it. I'm like, all right. And then the other one I got for $10 at another yard sale or marketplace. Sorry.
Now, usually, how much is that? If someone's paying $240 used, how much is that brand new? That must be.
I don't know. They don't sell those anymore. So I don't know.
Okay.
People love the vintage vacuums because it's like the saying goes, they don't make them like they used to.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, I sell skis. Here's the Kirby I sold today. I sold that Versace. So that Versace we had for 5 years, and I kept asking my girl, I kept holding on to it because it was missing a button. And so I found I was in a thrift store a few months ago, and click on the buttons. If you zoom in on the buttons, yeah, dude, those are off for different blazer. And I actually have the original buttons. The original buttons off that, and actually have all the buttons, because she goes, After she put all those buttons on, she goes, Kevin, the missing button's right here in the pocket. I was like, oh, but I still sold that with those buttons on there.
Yeah.
For was it $175, man? And I'm gonna sell the Versace buttons
It says
probably
sold.
for like for 60 or
It
$70.
says sold for 216.
And I think I took a best offer of 200 though.
Oh, okay.
But this thing was beautiful. It was the liner is beautiful. Everything about this is beautiful on that Versace. And I bought these. So I did a haul of $400. I bought these two RBZ TaylorMades. I got the wood sets. I have a whole set for myself I kept because I'm left-handed. And then I have the R Blades iron set, which I'm going to sell for $450. Callaway Big Bertha is going to sell for $200. And Titleist I'm going to sell for $100. All of those I bought for $400. And I've already made on 4 clubs $400 on.
Oh yeah, you're selling a. You're selling. You have a lot of stuff that's 100, 150, 200.
Yeah, I
So
crush it, dude. I
you
love
know,
it.
it's nice blending those small.
I picked that up right there. The pinup couture. Go back up. I picked that up for $1 at the bins. Got right there. That skirt underneath.
Right here.
Yep, I bought that at the bins for $1. And it was hard for me to part with stuff like that because I look at it as artwork, and I love collecting women's clothes and men's clothes, vintage. Like I have a whole collection of military World War II and World War I gear that I've picked up over the years, and I keep it.
Now, is your girlfriend, wife, is she helping you with the listings, or just the shit? Like, is there?
She does everything with me.
Okay,
everything. She ships everything. I list. I take pictures. She takes pictures. Dude, she does more than I do.
Do you consider yourself more of the primary buyer, or
yeah. But she knows what to look for. She's 75% of what I am when it comes to knowledge. I think if you put me up against, it's just being cocky, not cocky, but confidence. If you put me up with anybody in a store, I guarantee you, I would walk out there, if not as much stuff that they do, more, just because I know almost every inch of a corner of a thrift store, blazers, jackets, clothing. You're not going to know anybody that knows better clothing than I do. You're not going to know anybody that knows more stuff about vacuum parts than I do. When you look at my stats, like I can pop them up, I'm in the top 20 out of 25,000 sellers in that category, suits and blazers. I'm in the top 10 category of vacuum parts and stand-up vacuums. So when it comes to knowledge, you put me up against anybody in a thrift store, and I can almost guarantee I'm going to come out with more profit than they are.
Hey, Bearded Poke Tuber, thanks for stopping. I do appreciate it. Right now we're featuring, this is Stuart, Franklin Hill Ventures. This is his store. Boy, look at that. Did you see that tank?
Yeah.
And he's got a variety of stuff too, that he sells.
Go back up. Better Off Ted.
What's that?
Oh, I Better Off Ted. That's a good show.
Oh yeah, I never heard of it.
Yeah.
$50. Hey, Betty Webb. And there's something you won't even think about. I mean, look at these
Yeah, he's got the Tiger tank.
Yeah.
I like those. They're always, whenever I find them at estate sales, way too expensive.
Why don't you talk about where you're sourcing from primarily?
Right now I got that whole free pile, but mainly thrift stores. When I get their sale coupons through my messenger or text message, I'll source from those places. There's a couple places I know that have 70, 50, and 25% off sales. They have 3 out of 5 tags every week. Because again, as a business, you're trying to get that bottom line down and your profit margin up. So bins, before I got that free pile I was telling you about, I was, for the last 4 weeks, I was sourcing once a week at the bins. Which when we go when we're done with these piles, these free piles, I'll probably going back to the bins. But I'm just trying to cut down costs and get more items because again, 20 listings a day, and me adding postcards and a firma, I'm going to start moving up to 10 clothing, 10 vacuum parts, and 5 of firma a day. So we're going to move up to 25 a day here soon.
Now, real quick, one of the things that I did with Kevin being here, and we've been looking at some of the stores solds, and those are important because somebody like even Mr. Buys a Lot that has 180,000 listings, the argument is, okay, but what is he selling? So we did something a little different this week that I haven't done on the previous shows, is really featuring some of the solds, because those are the things that are obviously creating profit and money for people that are selling. And those are the things more you want to look at to see, because there could be 100 listings of something, but maybe none of them sell. So Craig's got a real, it sounds like a question: niche down or sell in multiple categories? Or I don't know.
Go either way. I mean, if you're someone who just wants to blow out listings, you can niche down to jeans, whatever. That's no big deal. But I've heard from a lot of people that niche down, it gets boring, and then they end up blowing out that product and moving into a different niche.
Oh wow, he sold this. Stuart sold this. That's cheap, $23 for a little damage on the bottom.
Yeah,
wrestling figure. I sell wrestling figures too. $23.
Yeah, Umaga, he's dead.
Yeah. I know.
He's dead. Heart attack, I think it was, right?
Yeah,
it was drugs. Yeah, because he failed his wellness, and they kept wanting to bring him back, but he refused to get better. Man, that was such a set. Dude, I loved Umaga.
Yeah, he's relation to Roman Reigns. That's
yeah. But I like selling in multiple categories. Again, ADD. So I like going down rabbit holes. I like trying different things. And I want to learn new niches just because I'm worried about the clothing niche in the next few years. I feel like a lot of these the major retailers, like I see Nike already doing it. I see Chanel going after people. Now, this should definitely be illegal. You should be able to go on a site and resell it. No problem. I don't care.
There's a law that says I have actually the language. I printed it up the other day. Hold on.
Yeah, I'm just worried about the clothing niche in the next few years. That's why I'm trying to surround myself and doing it outside those niches if I have to, because I can see what's going on. I've called it a few years ago. These companies aren't just going to sit around and allow us to go haywire and make all this money. None of them they want us working for them. Remember. So when you start taking money from them, that's how they see it, even though it's used products.
I printed this up because I have my own website, The Traveling Picker, which I feature these vintage evening to yo too. Thanks for stopping. But this is my actual website, The Traveling Picker. And what I'm trying to do is I'm going to make a special page selling Disney items. And from what I understand, it says copyright and trademark laws say that you can't make Disney items without a license. However, buying items then reselling them is legal on the first sale doctrine. You don't need anyone's permission. The first sale doctrine says that if you buy a copyrighted or trademarked item legally, you have the right to resell it in a store, flea market, or on eBay. What you can't do is call yourself a Disney store or do anything that implies you're authorized Disney dealer. And if the items you're selling are unlicensed bootlegs, expect a cease and desist letter from Disney.
Now, let me stop you there. Back up a few sentences. When you said, because again, lawyers, they pick everything. They affirm the law. They make new. I look at the lawyers as evilness of this country. Corporate lawyers, all this stuff. They're what ruins this country. So when you went back to that first sentence and you said, if you buy in resell, what was it? Say that sentence where it said at the beginning of
the first sale doctrine says that if you buy a copyrighted or trademarked item legally,
okay, there we go.
right to
What?
resell it in a store at a flea market or on eBay. And this is printed right up from Google.
No. I know, but then the law becomes they'll probably argue this law, right? And they'll say, well, how do we prove that you bought it from an actual, retail place or whatever? How do we prove that? I'm telling you, this is what's coming, dude. You got to pay attention to the laws and everything because Chanel's doing this. It's the same thing. They're telling you the only way you can sell Chanel on eBay now is that if you have the original box, the original receipt, and everything, nothing's put apart and nothing is open. You're only able to sell it. People are they're coming after people for it. It is disgusting. It's all because corporate lawyers. They ruin this country. And eBay's not gonna eBay is not gonna be like, hey, listen, eBay doesn't want to be involved in it, and I don't blame them. But it is up to small people like you and me to go to like fight this because these companies know they can bully you around. They've been doing it for how long, and they'll do it till the end of time. It's disgusting.
Dave says,
No, I agree, Dave. I agree 100%.
Yep.
I agree. And I know people, Oxford professor, a lot of slack for always going after eBay, but man, you need somebody like that to hold them accountable. You can't just have yes man in the room. Yes, man, that's great what you're doing. Yes, man, that's great, but you still have glitches. You've got to have some people who are just saying, hey, listen, no, this isn't right. This is ridiculous. You have a Walmart CEO, the CEO of eBay, who's running this place into the ground. He wants to just they only advertise for Rolex watches and expensive shoes and items that are over 1,000. And he's right. I mean, I watched today 3 commercials in a row on YouTube that were eBay motors, high-priced items. They don't care about small sellers like you and I anymore. And that's sad. Casey Atwood, NASCAR driver, right?
yeah, that's probably the car that I featured.
Dude, I love NASCAR. I've been since '96 a fan. I love NASCAR. Yeah, so that's going to be the future, man. The legalities of what you can and can't sell on eBay. I mean, I've heard they're doing things over at Facebook Marketplace too. Certain items like you can't sell Versace stuff. You can't sell certain name brands over there. I tried listing a Versace blazer over there. They wouldn't allow me because it was a designer brand. There was a couple other brands too. Yves Saint Laurent, same thing.
And obviously, that a lot of that probably has to be worried about counterfeits and stuff like that.
Yeah, but then you should have somebody on board that can look through these to see if they're like, who's going to counterfeit a blazer? Who's going to counterfeit a Yves Saint Laurent when they're a dime a dozen and they only sell for $50 to $100? Or you know what I mean? Like no one's going out and I mean because you still got to find a label that's a Versace label and take it off there. So it just doesn't make sense on some of these items. Purses, I definitely can see.
Thanks.
Shoes, I understand. When it comes to like dress shirts, borderline, but blazers, no one's faking a blazer because no one's thinking about selling those for a high amount of dollars.
Well, now they're doing the sneakers, the verification. They're doing cards verification, and maybe that's what it will get more down to.
I don't agree with any of it because you know what's going to happen in the end. They're going to charge you a fee. I'm calling it as it is. They're going to charge you a fee. What how they say, oh, you only sell now, you get fees over $100. Used to be nothing over $100. Now they got a little bit of the market. So now they're like, okay, well, we're going to charge fees, right? They're going to start charging you a fee
to do that
when you send that authentication. They're not just going to say it's free. And it's even in the writing that down the road, they can change up and charge fees for the authentication. And then you're like, hey, now I have to get it authenticated. Then I have to pay you. Then I have to pay fees. And we're back to FeeBay again.
Right.
And this is the stuff we talk about because like, when you've been doing this long enough professionally, I mean, It's the second time doing it professionally, but I've been around doing it for a long time. You can almost see the way the market's going and how they're trying to push things. When you see last quarter, eBay's share has dropped 10%. 10% of the sellers have left. And then you've seen 9% of their profit margin go up. Where do you think that's coming from? It's fees. It's not coming from sellers buying more. It's coming from fees because you go down on sellers. I mean, you go down on buyers, and then you go up on your bottom line. This is stuff everybody needs to pay attention to.
Yeah, vintage Von Nye, whatever. Facebook is out. eBay will blow up this year.
There's changes Facebook, I said last year, is going to be the future in 5 years, but they haven't changed things that I said that they need to change. Like one thing I can't stand is when I'm going to go look to buy an item and they're giving you $0. So like if I go to buy a golf club and the price says $20 and then you look in the list and it says this such and such is like 50, 75, 120. And it's like, dude, you wasted my time. I hate that. You should be like item not as described, right? You know how on eBay, like if I did that, like in a picture it said, "Oh, price is 125, but my listing says you buy it for $20." That's an item not as described. Facebook needs to do that. I hate going through listings and seeing people say $10 for an N64, but in the listing says $100.
Oh well, that happens a lot. I'll see listings for free, and
Same
then
thing. I hate it.
It'll say, "Oh, it's not free. It's $20," and it's like you feel like you get sucked in or misguided, and it's annoying, but yet now we're at that a little bit over that hour mark, Kevin. Before we go, what are the platforms that you sell on?
Macari, Facebook, and eBay. I was going to go back to Poshmark because I was excited about their new algorithm change to make it like eBay. Because a lot of the soccer moms who do Poshmark, they like to just share. I don't have that time. I have 3,900 listings. I don't have time to share. I don't like it. It's a time suck and it's a waste of time. Plus, it's 20% fees. Now, if they did the new way it was going to be, which is like eBay system, where it's your title, it kind of takes it from your title. I was all on board. I noticed I was getting action from old items when they made that change. But then all the soccer moms cried up and roared, "Oh, we need to share," and then they threw it back. So I think Poshmark's almost a dead platform. Also, there's too many too many sellers, not enough buyers. I like Macari. I like Facebook. I've only gotten into Etsy a little bit. Like I've listed 3 items, sold 2. But I just don't have the time to go over it's longer listing than it would be on eBay. So I pass on Etsy. So it's just those 3 platforms. I got to get my List Perfectly subscription back so I can start cross-posting again.
It seems to me, and I'm not sure. I mean, it seems to me Etsy, all I thought was people that were artistic and would post a lot of their own stuff. I don't really. I mean, I know, for example, Taco Stack sells his T-shirts on there. I see people that sell some of the things they make. I think my friend Steve Alcorn is going to make stuff on his Glowforge, and he's going to sell stuff on there. But I don't have the time to do I sell on Amazon, eBay, Facebook, and occasionally I do YouTube auctions, but I only probably do 5 or 6 a year. But I do like what's happening. Some of the things, like I'm starting to sell more stuff on Facebook, cards that I sell. But, I like that you could see the person, but you do find it sometimes it's like some people like who everybody's selling now. It seems like there's more competition, and some of the stuff it's like, wow, you can't buy as a reseller because they're asking basically top money.
Yeah, and it's gotten worse since after this. I've seen a huge change from prior the pandemic to during and then after. Prior, it was great prices, thrift stores everywhere, Facebook market. It was like the Wild West. During, a lot of people are like, "Let me jump on this train," and then they quit because they think it's a quick rich get rich scheme. It's not. It's a Rome wasn't built in a day. I always call it. And it's a process. People don't have time for that process, and they go back to their job. And then now I look at Facebook. and certain niches, like I have no problem finding vacuums. Golf clubs last year were great. This year, retail. So again, you just are finding and adapting. I'm not going to buy a retail golf club when I can just find them at garage sales, stuff
Right.
like that.
Right.
And that's what I've gone back to, dude. Since I've done this garage sale YouTube channel, I mean, I love going to those garage sales. I'm finding some really gold items,
Yeah,
and
you
it's
got to
fun.
find. I find you got to find people that aren't married to the stuff, or I mean, I run into that sometimes where people are like, well, this sells for $20. I tell them right out. Like
Yeah,
I was with a lady like 2 months ago, and she's like, she wanted 900, and she wouldn't go below 800, and I told her, the best that I'm gonna do is I don't know if I came in because I bought records while I was there too. I think it was 600 I wound up getting it for, but I tried to explain to her, and I'm glad I did because some of that stuff is not moving. I mean, some of those cars that someone paid $25 for years ago, even now out of the box, I'm having a tough time selling them for $7. And I mean that
everything changes. Yeah.
yeah, that's that. But I realize that. So I try to I try to recoup my money in those type of things, even if I sell 30% of it. That way, I at least get my money back.
Well, it's like
And
holding cards. You don't want to be
yeah,
the last one holding those cards, man.
right.
We all get stuck. If you've done this long enough, there's been niches where you get stuck holding those damn cards, like board games. Remember during the pandemic, everyone was buying board games, and I
Oh
wasn't
yeah,
because I know that's not going to last long. It's just not going to last. It's going to go back to being bottom dollar again. Now you look at board games; they're dime a dozen. Same thing with weights, gym equipment. That was just a pandemic thing,
yeah. Even
right?
puzzles. I
Yep,
mean,
pandemic thing.
people were paying. I mean, it was ridiculous. I mean, I didn't sell a lot of puzzles because I found out about it too late. I
That's
mean,
what happens. Yep.
I was selling like puzzle ship. The problem with puzzles is they were running into the point that when they were the ones that would go over that pound, and it would be like, wow, you buy a puzzle for 5 or 6 and you sell it for 20, 22. Now, I did have a couple puzzles that I did sell for 50, but they were artist puzzles.
Yep.
And they were very like you couldn't find them anywhere. And actually, they were purchases that I purchased 2 years ago and just happened to stumble upon going through inventory. I'm like, oh wow, and those sold very well. But now I go to the thrift store and I see, puzzles for $3-4, and
Expensive.
it's and you see them new in the store, Walmart for $9. So it's very hard because until you pay fees and shipping, no one's going to pay you $20 for that puzzle no more that they were paying 2 years ago.
Well, if you look at Walmart, they got stuck a lot holding the cards. They dropped those during the pandemic. They started coming out with those model cars, right? You see a lot of those model cars in the sections, toy section, like the whole model cars,
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
they did really well with those. And then at the end of the pandemic, they batched up again, and I always go buy those. They're never moving. It's a pandemic thing. You're
yeah.
inside the house. You want to do something maybe from your childhood. If you're like in your 50s, 60s, do something from your childhood. Oh,
under
Walmart
tw-
has
under
these.
under yeah under $20.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. Now you can't even move them. So
Right.
it's all about getting stuck holding. Who's going to be the person getting stuck holding the cards? Who's going to be the first person that dips out and makes all the money? That's what it's all about. Same thing with
Yeah.
baseball and basketball cards. It's starting to get oversaturated with the basketball cards. I've noticed that, so I won't even touch them anymore.
Yeah.
But we only pick up Pokemon cards because my kids and her kid, they always have to have Pokemon cards. So I don't pay attention to them until she ripped out. She pulled out. I don't even know if I even saw. I think it might be in the other drawer. She pulled out that Charizard alternate art yesterday. That's a $350 ungraded card.
Isn't that
So
crazy?
that's
It's
by
so
far
funny.
the most we've sold. We've bought.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, I bought 200,000 plus cards, and now I've been selling them out, a lot of them in packs. Like even this one, I got like Tiger Woods packs of cards.
Yep.
These sell for about $15 on eBay, but
Yep.
a lot of people might have thought I was stupid buying all these cards, and I find sometimes 2 boxes that, holy shit, there's $1,000 worth of cards in there. These, here's something that's small. These are baseball credit cards. But they go for now. Here's like a handful of 10, but
Yep.
they go for $12-15 a piece.
You can't go wrong there, man.
And these are like 30, 35 years old. You
Yep.
can't find these no more. Even only certain shops had these. You didn't buy these at Walmart years ago. These were like a specialty item.
Yeah. Well, it's like if you went to a garage sale and you saw those, you know exactly what you want to pay for them because you know exactly what you're going to get for them.
I try to be honest. I try to buy bulk especially when it's a, I'll pick up it's funny because when Scott, the bearded picker, came to visit our area, me, him, and Jason and Banana Finds, we went and done a flea market together, and I got a tape recorder that was in the box. The lady was asking $5. I said, would you take 4? She's like, yeah. And even, $5 I knew was cheap enough, but you're like,
yeah.
sometimes, when you still bargain, and without insulting them. And I sold that like a week later for like $25. And that was nice. I mean, imagine just doing that a couple times a week, taking $20 and turning it into $100, $150.
Yeah. And it adds up quickly, man. And
Yeah.
It doesn't take up much space in your inventory, and it doesn't cost much to ship either. I just couldn't believe that yesterday, and I said to her earlier, a few hours earlier, I said, dude, every time we go there, I would rather have him buy it at an antique mall because they have older boxes that he can open instead of this Walmart down the road, because we've really pulled anything big over like $10-15. And sure enough, she brings home and she opens one of the packs. And I was like, dude, no, let me see that. And I looked it up. I double checked everything, triple checked it, and graded. They were going from $750 to $1,200. And then ungraded, they were going for at least $350. And there's alternate art, man. It's insane.
There's where the marketing, and think about that. Now he goes to school or he's talking to his friends, and all of a sudden they're like, Mom, let's go to Walmart and buy 3 packs, or, and that's what happens, because 1 or 2 cards, the possibility of getting that, and the parents look at it, oh, well, I dropped $10 for a pack, for example. And that's what happens a lot with basketball and baseball cards. If they don't find nothing, the parent goes, oh, well, it was only $10, and back when I was a kid, cards were 50 cents, and my parents weren't buying them because we didn't have the money. I worked a $3 an hour job and bought them myself.
Yeah. But my only thing is that growing up, they always said, oh, don't gamble. Gambling's whatever, you can't gamble or whatever. Because I'm from Massachusetts, so back then, and I don't know if you can still now, but you couldn't go to like a casino or anything. But it's the same thing as kids, because you're spending your hard-earned more money on cards to try to get that rush of getting a good card. How many packs did he go through to get those? He probably went through about $400 or $500 worth, just him alone, worth of stuff. So it's you gambling, and it's bringing that serotonin in your brain. It's really that rush. And I'm saying to myself, is that healthy as a kid? Wasting your money on a little piece of cardboard. And I always say, hey, all my stuff, I don't mind. I would care less if I got rid of it all one day. If I had to get rid of it, it's all materialistic stuff. My whole collections, all that stuff. I would trade it for a really good memory, because memories to me is what lasts. Your clothing, your possessions, when you die, all that stuff probably mostly gets donated or even estate sale.
Oh, I always joke, my kids will go up in the attic and they'll be selling it on eBay.
Yeah. But the majority of people, if I live in Florida, so the estate sales are people that live out of state. Their parents die. Their photo albums I pick up, all this stuff. I'm like, man, you just don't care about your family. Like I'm old school. Like I feel like I live in a 60-year-old mindset, because I'm like, man, I still would kill. I still, every time when I go to my kids' soccer games, I'm like, I wish I had the VHSs still of my soccer games where I would score 4, 5, 6 goals a game so I could show them, this is your dad. But I don't know what the hell happened to them. I know I'm on the
Well,
core of
I
them,
think
but I
a
don't know
lot
what
of a
happened to
lot
them.
of things with social media and because I picture myself when and hopefully I live into be in my 80s, but I picture myself sitting around in my office and maybe talking to the grandkids and show them the wrestlers that I had,
They won't care. They won't care.
the
My
cards.
kids don't care. They don't care. All they care about is the screen that's in front of their face. And I see it.
Oh, I
And it's
know.
sad, man.
I've
It's
had problems.
sad.
I've had problems with my. I mean, you talk about buying a piece of cardboard. Look at the
Yep.
kids today buying virtual fake stuff on the internet.
NFTs.
Or they'll buy a hammer on a game. They'll buy
Oh my God.
a
Yeah.
jacket, a pair of pants. Instead of riding the motorcycle, they'll buy an SUV that and before you know it, they're dropping $1,000 on
Or when your son, and you don't know, because Microsoft doesn't warn you, when your son spends $2,300 on Fortnite stuff
well
until you get the bill and you're
yeah,
like, or you look at your credit, you're like, what the is going
well
on? But they
yeah,
refunded me everything. $2,300, my youngest did.
well that's because
You
he's a
kidding me?
minor. He's a minor
Yeah,
now.
of course. Yeah,
I have a son that played on Twitch, and it's owned by Amazon.
of course. Yeah. I know that.
And we're talking. There you go. There you go.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's. I would rather go out and make my own clothes. Learn how to make my like. I literally learned how to refinish furniture on YouTube, and that makes me so proud refinishing a piece. Like I get the same feeling that when I bought my house, man. That's stuff you can't. That's an euphoria rush, man. And these kids are getting that rush on something that's not even real.
Yeah. That's what drives me a little nuts about it because I when I grew up I didn't have much. So believe it or not, this silly and to be I mean I picked this up. I
Iron
must
Sheik.
yeah I picked this up for like $3 at a garage or a yard sale, and
Yep.
around me I have like lunch boxes that I got, and I mean I have some lunch boxes that were gifted to me through viewers actually,
Yep.
and I like the lunch boxes because you know what? When I was a kid, Kevin, I saw kids with these lunch boxes, and my mom and dad said, "No, you either brown bag it or you get free lunch in school because we don't make enough money." So we would have the ticket, and
Yep.
we didn't have the lunch box.
There's going to be a rude awakening here in the next few months because that's going to come back here. Look what's happening in China, man. Shanghai, it's sad. Dude, there's videos of people literally committing suicide because they can't eat. They can't find food. They're forcing lockdowns. They're claiming it's because of COVID, but it's not. It's because of the food shortages over there. That's coming
Wow.
here, man. We're so lucky, but that is coming, man. Spain, they're rationing. They're rationing food. You're only allowed to buy a certain amount of things when you go in the store. That's coming. This
Yeah,
fertilizer
and we
to grow the
waste.
crops is going to kill us. We are. But man, I'm
Yeah.
telling you, that's coming. Dude, stock up. You guys may think I'm stupid, but when you start seeing big countries like this, people literally screaming on their balconies and videos of it, just Google it. Google the videos coming out of Shanghai.
Yeah.
It's dude. If you don't think that can't happen here, you're wrong. It's coming. I mean, and I said to myself, it was 90 years ago. 90 years ago, was last time we had a Great Depression. We're already in a recession. People will be like, "Oh, we're in a recession." That depression could be coming a lot quicker than we think, and that's going to affect all of us. I mean, it's. I don't like to
Well,
get political, but man, I worry.
I wonder if it'll be a reset or a wake up call to people because what I'm seeing now is a lot of attitude of people that basically aren't willing to work for $15 an hour, and they just I'd rather sit at home, and I just kind of don't get and I see it personally because my wife I had 800 employees over the 17 years, but my wife is still involved in the restaurant business, and
Yep.
I see it. The bearded finds, yo,
Yeah,
yo.
the price of her stuff, mayonnaise, is probably going through the all of the little stuff, the condiments, all that stuff's gone up. I actually asked a lady. I love this place. It's a barbecue place out in Bradenton, Florida. And she said, I had to take, I go, because I like asking people, I had conversation, right? I like asking the questions. I said, hey, have you actually guys had to raise your prices because of this stuff? She says, yeah. And there's some items that we can't even, we had to take off the menu because it doesn't make sense for our clientele to buy.
Right.
It's scary, man.
Well,
Everything's good.
I know a restaurant locally in our area just closed down. They just don't have enough help.
Mm-hmm.
And and we got off talking about eBay, and I apologize that, but this is real.
But it's still on topic because who do you think it's going to affect us too?
Yeah,
it's going to come full circle.
Yeah, exactly. So, Kevin, I do appreciate you being a guest, and
of course, anytime.
I appreciate everyone that did show up in the chat, and I hope I'll have you on again in the future. And
anytime.
If you guys are watching this and on the replay and give me thumbs up and comment below, please do. I'd greatly appreciate it. But you guys have a good weekend, and I hope you make a lot of money, and I'll see you again. Say bye, Kevin.
Of course. Oh, bye.